Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with a tutorial using Kylie Cosmetics new products. The bronze palette, eyeshadow palette, and the lip kit in brown sugar. So I'm going to start by applying some moisturizer to my face. I'll go ahead and list all the products that I'm using below, but it's great to use a moisturizer or a primer to lay your foundation down. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that all over, including my eyelids and whatnot, and just make sure get that in good. So I'm going to go ahead and apply some foundation. Right now I'm in between shades because of the summer, of course. So I like to mix my usual foundation, Nars Macao, with my tan foundation, which is Nars's Trindad. I like to mix the two because Trinidad can be a little bit too red for me, and I'm not a red undertone, I'm a gold undertone. So I like to mix the two, and I feel like it's a great mixture for me. And I'm applying that with a wet beauty blender, well, a damp beauty blender sponge. And I'm going to go ahead and apply that product all over my face, including under my eyes and my eyelids and the neck area to make sure everything's matched perfectly. And I'm making sure I get all everywhere, and usually depends on how many layers I like to apply. On average I like to do about two, just depending on the amount of coverage you'll like, if you like light share to full coverage. And I usually like to do about two um layers of foundation just to make sure I get a smooth airbrushed finish. I'm going to go ahead and highlight and contour my face using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Cream Contour Palette. I use a mixture of deep and medium shades. I went ahead and created my own custom palette just by popping out the shades and putting them into one. The ones that I use the most, or I feel that'll be great for me. And I'm going to go ahead and highlight my face. With highlighting, I usually like to use cream palettes, and then I'll go over the area under my eyes with like a liquid um concealer just to help it pop. A lot of people like to bake, which I don't have a problem with doing. I bake often, but sometimes I just skip that phase if I use too really too thick consistent concealers and go with that instead. And really with highlighting, you have all these little guides of what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And a nice trick is when you're, as you can see, like on my face, you can see where the light's hitting where the highlights of my face are. And that's where you kind of want to apply the concealer to the areas of where the light's hitting to give it that nice highlighting glow. So I'm going to go ahead and apply, blend in the the concealer with another separate damp beauty blender. And the trick with blending is you just want to blend up. You don't want to rub in. You want to blend up to merge the products with each other. Um, I would say start little by little, depending on how much highlight you want. Um, Apply a little product at a time, and then maybe add more as you go to achieve what exactly you're looking for. And while we're waiting, once this video is done, make sure you guys check out some of my other videos, especially featuring her products. I know a lot of you ladies don't really know what the products look like because you can only order them online and you can't see them in person and swatch them. So make sure you check out my other videos. And right now I'm just taking that same damp beauty blender and I'm blending in my highlight and contour together. And usually I do this all at once when applying it, but just depends what I want highlighted and contoured for the day. Sometimes I just like to do under my eyes, my cheekbones, and like my nose area, and not even my nose. It just depends what I'm going for at the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend in um, my highlight and contour. And I'm using a different shade on my nose. Um, Sometimes I like to use a different shade and sometimes I use the same shade, but I'm gonna go ahead and blend that in. I'm gonna go ahead and take Nars concealer, the Radiant Creamy Concealer, and I'm gonna apply that under my eyes and blend that as well, just to give it that extra pop. I'm just gonna blend that in with my same damp beauty blender. And always blend, 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 blend. You can never go wrong blending. When in doubt, blend. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply some banana powder under my eyes just to bake. Well, in the highlight areas, but to bake. And I use a few colors to bake. It just depends how much poppin' I want to be. So I use banana. I use a few other of their colors. Usually I go in between three colors with banana. It just depends. And I have sometimes I use the shade to bake my contour also, but oftentimes I just bake the highlighted areas. So gonna go in the areas that I highlighted already and apply that banana powder loosely on my face to just let it sit for a time. And the longer you let the powder set, the longer it'll set in. And It just depends on how much time you have for that and whatnot. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a fluffy brush and wipe away the excess powder. As you can see a difference already in highlight baking. And I'm gonna go ahead and take a bronzer from Nars. And I usually like to use Casino or Laguna. And I'm gonna apply that into the contour area, just to help define the contour a little bit more. And usually when I apply blushes, I like to apply two. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply a blush, and this one is Nars Taj Mahal, I believe. And now I'm gonna go ahead and apply a highlighter from Anastasia's Beverly Hills, um, her recent palettes that she's been releasing. And I like to take a feathered brush and apply my highlight, usually to just the cheekbone area and the nose. Sometimes I'll add it to other areas too. So I'm going to go ahead and apply it to my forehead and chin and above my upper lip. And I went ahead and applied some Anastasia Beverly Hills Dipbrow to my eyebrows. I didn't even realize I wasn't filming at the time, so I didn't get to add that, but I will go over them a little bit. And I'm going to take her dual pencil and add uh, some highlight under my brows. And I believe this is Shell and Lace. And usually I like to take a brush and blend under my eyebrows, but sometimes I'll just take the same wet beauty blender and blend under my eyebrows with that instead. And now I'm taking the shimmer side and applying that under my brows now. I'm going to blend that in as well. And as you can see, I'm going ahead and filling in the rest of my brows with the Dipbrow from Anastasia or Anastasia Beverly Hills. And depending on the situation, I usually use ebony or dark brown to fill in my brows. And the trick is with doing your brows, use the light strokes. So I'm going to go ahead and apply some primer to my eyelids to apply my eyeshadow. You should always use primer. That just helps with making your eyeshadow pop and stay. And this primer is really good. I always use the Urban Decay Primer Potion or the Shadow Assurance from Too Faced, but I definitely go to Primer Potion first. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the KyShadow palette and I'm gonna apply a few shades. And usually I like to start with the crease to get a natural crease color going so I can blend. I usually blend with a natural color depending on what look I'm going for. going to go ahead and apply another shade to my inner eye. And I don't know her shades by heart. Let me get the names, because I definitely don't know them by heart. Let me see. And I'm applying a darker color to my outer lid. And I'm going to take a fluffy brush and blend in my crease area. And like I said with eyeshadow, the best thing you can do is always blend, blend, blend. When in doubt, always make sure you blend. And typically I like to go for cut crease looks or and whatnot, just because my eye shape varies with your eye shape. And it helps if you use like tape or shadow guards and whatnot, just to help you get it more of an even, precise look with eyeshadow. So I'm going to go ahead and go over my lids again with the lid color just to make sure it pops more. I'm going to take a pencil brush and go under my eyelids, the same color. So I'm going to go ahead and take a pencil that I got from MAC and go under in my inner water lids, the lower lash line. And I'm going to go ahead and take, I like to use gel eyeliner and a pencil at times. And with eyeliner, I usually like to go over it a few times. So I'll use like gel and then I'll go over it with liquid and whatnot. Or I'll use a pencil and go over it with liquid just to make it a little more darker. With eyeliner, you want to start with the middle of your eyes and then you want to do it in sections. You have the middle, the inner part, and the outer part, the outer corner, the inner corner, and the outer section. So you just want to start in sections and get as close to your lash line as possible. And I like to pull my lids just because my lashes are long and they often get in the way, so it helps me see a little better. And I got a little a little liner on my lid, so I was just covering it up with more shadow. And this is an Inglot gel liner. I love it. I usually use MAC's gel liner, but I've been using Inglots a lot more lately. I'm just going to go ahead and wing out my liner a bit. Something subtle, just because I have eyeshadow on. Usually when I'm not really wearing any eyeshadow or I'm doing nude colors, I'll do a thicker wing liner and whatnot. But I'm gonna go ahead and apply some glue to the outer corners in the middle of my lashes and let them dry a bit. When they become tacky, that's when you want to apply your eyelashes. And it may be a little hard, but you definitely want to look down when applying them. You can use your fingers, you can use tweezers, you can use lash tweezers, anything to apply your lashes, but just make sure you look down so you can get them to the closest to your waterline as possible so they can look real. A lot of times, you'll have like spaces in between your lash line and where you put your lashes, and that's what you definitely don't want. And just go ahead and take some tweezers or the end of a makeup brush or something and push them down if possible. And definitely want to make sure you cut your lashes to fit your lashes, your lash line. I usually cut mine and I don't like to apply them from the inner corner to ends. I like to apply them, I guess you could say 3/4, just to make them look more realistic. I have long lashes already, and half the time I don't really wear any, but I do wear them just because I don't like to deal with mascara that much. So I'll put them on just to help with the dramatic look instead of wearing mascara and dealing with that. And it just helps to define my shape anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and let those dry for a bit. And my favorite brand of lashes is Red Cherries. Or I like to go get the velour lashes. Those are mink lashes. So with lashes, you can use them over and over again. It just depends how well you keep them up. And mink lashes tend to lash a lot more longer. Any lash lasts a lot longer anyway. And what I like to do is after I apply my lashes to my lid, I like to go back over with the gel or a pencil eyeliner just to clean it up and make it look a little nicer, because sometimes you could have glue, and a lot of times I'll use the white glue that dries clear and you could see the clear, which is what you could see it. But I use black. Black is usually my go-to since I usually use black liner, but when using lash glue, I still like to go over it anyway just to make sure it looks clean. I'm gonna go ahead and add some mascara to my lower lash line. This is from Clinique and it's perfect. It's made for that, and it's a smaller brush. So I know a few brands make lower lash line mascara now, but I love this one. I got it from Sephora. And if you happen to get mascara under your like on your lids when applying it, a trick I learned from watching the Tyra Banks show a long time ago is let the mascara dry, and when it's dry completely, just flick off the excess product and it'll come right off. Don't wipe off the mascara while it's still wet because it'll smudge and get all over the place. So you want to definitely make sure it dries. And when it dries, just go ahead and flick it off with like maybe a Q-tip or your finger or a brush or something. It'll come right off. But just don't try to wipe it off while it's still wet. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the Kylie Lip Kit in the color Brown Sugar. And let me say, I've tried a few of her products, and this is one of my favorite shades because it's closer to a nude for my skin tone. It still looks like exposed in that peachy shade and a few other shades to me, but this one is actually closer to me. So I'm actually happy she came out with this shade. If she gets something a little darker, maybe it'll be perfect. But I'm like a MAC NC43. I'm sorry, NW43. And you know, between 43 and 45, and I'm sure the ladies would like something a little darker to fit them. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this to my lips, and the directions on her box says to line your lips once fully and then apply the coat once, but I definitely just lined my lips a little bit, and then I went in with the shade. And I love her lip kits because they do smell like vanilla. They are great. I don't have to worry about them ending up all over my cup. Thank you so much for tuning into my latest tutorial. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share, and follow me on Instagram at AshSlay87, and that's ASHSLAY87. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you guys again. Ciao.